My mother-in-law made a huge batch of dumplings and froze them. The moment she stepped out, I dumped them in the trash. Then she came back, caught me red-handed, filmed it, and posted the video in the family group chat. I made those dumplings for my daughter-in-law, and she threw every single one in the trash. Why does she hate me so much? Before long, the whole family showed up to lecture me. I boiled all the dumplings and served everyone a bowl. Halfway through eating, every face at the table changed. The second I saw her post the video, I knew trouble was coming. I kicked myself for acting too fast. I should have waited until late at night, taken them downstairs, and dumped them in the public trash where no one would ever know. After posting her complaint, she picked the dumplings out of the trash and carried them into the kitchen. I quietly brought over the freezer box while she arranged them again. Most were still intact. Only a dozen or so had split open. She mixed more dough, rolled new wrappers, scooped up the filling, and rewrapped them with tears in her eyes. When she finished, I put them back in the freezer. Somehow, we completed the whole job without saying a word. Then someone knocked at the door. My mother-in-law went to answer it, and moments later I heard her crying. My stomach dropped when I recognized my husband's older brother. "Mom, stop crying! Where's Luo Xin?" My mother-in-law sobbed like she'd suffered the greatest injustice in the world. I knew Luo Xin hated fatty meat, so I bought lean pork. I got up at 4, rolled every wrapper, chopped the filling, and wrapped them one by one for hours. My hands went numb and I skipped breakfast. Yet she ate none and threw them all away. What did I do to make her hate me? Even if she's mad at me, what did the dumplings do? Don't be upset, Mom. Where is Luo Xin? I'm going to straighten her out. Luo Xin, get out here! How can you call your second sister-in-law by her name like that? Please! Does she deserve to be called family? No one has ever treated my mom like this. She clearly has zero respect for any of us. Luo Xin, come out! Her footsteps headed straight for the kitchen, but her husband grabbed her arm. Honey, calm down. We're here to solve the problem, not start a fight. Luo Xin is busy in the kitchen. Don't bother her. Wait until she comes out. Busy doing what? My mom waits on her every day and does all the housework. What could she possibly be busy with? Luo Xin, come out and apologize to my mom. That's enough. Say less. Why should I? She bullied my mother. Am I supposed to worship her like royalty? Even if she was wrong, she's still your second sister-in-law. Wait until your second brother comes home and let him handle it. You actually expect second brother to stand up for mom? He's completely whipped. If he really cared about her, he wouldn't let Luo Xin walk all over her. Enough, everyone sit down. I'll go get Luo Xin. My husband's older brother came into the kitchen to get me. Luo Xin, come out and explain why you threw the dumplings in the trash. There was no dodging this now. I'd been caught, so I had to face it. I braced myself and walked into the living room. My sister-in-law pointed at me and snapped, Luo Xin, tell us, how has my mom ever wronged you? You were spoiled at home and can't even cook. My second brother's job keeps him away, so mom felt sorry for you and moved in after your wedding to look after you. She cooks 3 meals a day and serves them to you. She sweeps, mops, washes your clothes, even your underwear. She's practically put you on a pedestal. How is that not good enough? What gives you the right to humiliate her? My sister-in-law was 5 months pregnant, already showing heavily, and about to become a mother herself. Yet her temper was still explosive. Luo Xin, mom knows you love dumplings, so she made chive filling just for you. She cleaned every stalk, bought lean leg meat because you avoid pork belly, and chopped it by hand because grinders ruin the flavor. She's made dumplings all her life, and everyone loves them. Didn't you say they were delicious the first time you came over? That part was true. Back then, I thought her dumplings were incredible, better than anything from a street shop. Mom says hand-rolled wrappers taste chewier, so she buys flour, kneads the dough herself, rolls every wrapper, and folds every dumpling by hand. Where else are you going to get dumplings made like that? How many shops still make both the wrappers and filling from scratch? I worried you'd feel lost after joining our family, so I stayed and cared for you like my own daughter. You skipped breakfast, and I feared you'd hurt your stomach, so I filled the freezer with dumplings for each morning. But you threw my kindness away. What did I do wrong? Tell me, and I'll change. So this was their idea of letting me explain, putting me on trial. Everyone praised how wonderful she was and accused me of being ungrateful, yet not one person asked why I had done it. I was about to speak when my sister-in-law cut me off again. Luo Xin, do you have any conscience? My mom has given you everything. Is this how you repay her? Since you met my second brother, have you ever bought mom even one shirt? You've been married 2 months and she pays for groceries while caring for you. Her own children don't spend her money. Yet with second brother away, her pension goes entirely to you. You show no gratitude and waste her hard work. You're unbelievably ungrateful. Your mom told you she treats me well, didn't she? She didn't need to. Ask our oldest sister-in-law and ask my husband. Doesn't mom treat them exactly the same as she treats us? Mom's been good to me. Yes, mom treats all of us equally. You heard them. My husband and our oldest sister-in-law weren't born into this family either, yet mom treats them like her own children. Why would she single you out? You're the new bride. She'd bend over backward to please you, not make your life miserable. Forget my mom. Which mother-in-law would dare give attitude to a bride who's only been married 2 months? If mom really treats you differently, it's because you mistreated her first and finally pushed her too far. How convenient. You win either way. Am I wrong? You threw Mom's dumplings in the trash today, and she still didn't dare confront you. She could only cry to us. That proves you bully her all the time. Your lucky second brother isn't home, or he'd slap some sense into you. I could tell she wanted to hit me, but her husband held her arm and kept warning her, "Honey, calm down. Think about the baby." The siblings had already decided every possible version ended with me at fault. Even if their mom mistreated me, they'd say I caused it. So why bother explaining? I said it plainly. Zidajin told me to throw them away. Zidajin was my husband. His older brother was Zideming, and his younger sister was Zideching. The moment I said that, Zideking exploded. She jumped up, pointed in my face, and yelled, "Second brother may spoil you, but he'd never tell you to throw Mom's handmade dumplings in the trash. You messed up, and now you're trying to pin it on my brother. Stop jumping. Think about the baby." My mother-in-law started crying even louder. "Luoxin, have some conscience. My second son is at work. How could he possibly have told you to throw them away?" My husband's work was confidential. The moment he entered his workplace, his phone had to be turned off and handed in. While he was on duty, no one could reach him. Everyone in the Z family knew that, so no one believed me. He told me before that if I don't want to eat something, I should throw it away instead of forcing myself. He meant takeout or snacks, not dumplings my mom made. His older brother's face darkened. "Luoxin, don't think you can lie just because second brother isn't home. We're speaking to you seriously. You need to face what you've done." "Face what?" Anything I said would be pointless. They'd always believe their mom, never the outsider who married in. By then, it was already noon. "I'll make everyone something to eat."
I'll do it.
"You don't even know how to cook." My sister-in-law grabbed her mother. "Then she can learn. If she's married, she needs to start acting like a daughter-in-law. She should be serving you. Why should a mother-in-law wait on her son's wife? Are you supposed to serve her forever?" "Her cooking tastes awful. I don't care how it tastes. As long as she makes it, I'll eat it. Even if it tastes like dog food." That was exactly what I wanted to hear. I went into the kitchen, pulled out the biggest pot in the house, filled it with water, and dumped in every dumpling. Once they were cooked, I served everyone a huge bowl and carried them out carefully. My mother-in-law suddenly panicked. "I made those especially for you to eat every morning. Why did you cook them all at once?" My sister-in-law rolled her eyes. "Mom, she doesn't appreciate your dumplings anyway, so stop worrying about her. If she skips breakfast, that's her problem. You're not the one going hungry. Your older brother and sister hardly ever visit. You should have made a proper meal. Serving nothing but dumplings looks terrible. You eat the dumplings first. I'll cook a few more dishes. They're already cooked, so let's eat." Come to think of it, I haven't had Mom's handmade dumplings in 2 months. Same here. I can never get any. Mom favors second brother and makes them for his family every day, and they still don't appreciate it. Our oldest sister-in-law and brother-in-law helped place the bowls around the table. I brought out vinegar. The Z siblings eagerly dipped the dumplings and started eating. The others joined in too. Only my mother-in-law didn't touch hers. I picked one up and held it to her lips. "You worked so hard, Mom. Let your daughter-in-law feed you one. Thank you for taking such good care of me." She clamped her mouth shut. "What's wrong, Mom? Don't you like dumplings? You made them yourself. Surely you should taste one." "My mom loves dumplings." "Go on, Mom. She's finally showing you some respect, so enjoy it." "I'm not eating. I have no appetite." My sister-in-law kept stuffing dumplings into her mouth while saying, "Look how badly you've upset Mom." She swallowed several so quickly she probably didn't notice the flavor. But after 2, C. Deming realized something was wrong. "What's in this filling?" Our oldest sister-in-law spat hers out too. "Mine has tissue papers and noodles. There's glass noodles in mine." My sister-in-law bit down with a crunch and screamed, "Why is there a bone in this? Why is this filling full of random junk? It tastes weird too. This is disgusting." The filling isn't the only bad part. The wrappers taste like the dough was mixed with dirt. Did Mom really make these? Everyone turned to look at me. She absolutely made them herself. Impossible. Mom's cooking is amazing. How could her dumplings taste this bad? I smiled. You'll have to ask your mother. Funny though. If she made them herself, why won't she eat one? Luoxin, if you didn't want dumplings, you could have just told me. I wouldn't have made them. Why are you trying to hurt me? What did you put in the filling and flour? She was actually trying to blame me. Rage surged through me. I grabbed a bowl of dumplings and flung it straight at her. Ah! Dumplings covered my mother-in-law's head and face as she let out a piercing scream. Filling and wrappers clung to her hair, skin, and clothes. She looked completely wrecked. Our oldest sister-in-law jumped back in shock. "Oh my God! Luoxin, you threw that at my mom? Are you insane?" The living room erupted into chaos. I stayed perfectly calm and pretended to panic. "I'm sorry!" My hand slipped. "Mom, rinse it with cold water quickly." I grabbed her arm, dragged her into the kitchen, turned on the faucet, and pushed her head under the cold water. She Deming rushed in and yanked me away. "Luoxin, are you trying to kill my mother?" If you don't cool the burn immediately, her skin could blister and hurt even worse. Half convinced, Xie Deming filled the sink with cold water and shoved his mother's entire head in. She struggled desperately, but he held her down. Shi Daiking rushed into the kitchen too. "Big brother, what are you doing? Are you trying to drown Mom? Mom!" Her face is burned. If we don't cool it down, the skin could blister. Then take her to the hospital and use burn cream. Holding her underwater could send her into shock. Shideki burst into tears. When they finally pulled my mother-in-law out, her face was bright red and she could barely breathe, let alone speak. Deming forgot all about blaming me. He scooped his mother up and ran for the door. "I'm taking Mom to the hospital." Shideki lunged at me. I grabbed another bowl of dumplings and smashed it at her feet. She jumped back and nearly fell, but her husband caught her. "You're insane! You've completely lost it!" My mother has lived most of her life without anyone treating her like this, and I've lived half my life without anyone treating me like this either. You burned my mom and still think you're right? That's assault! I'm calling the police! Shideki pulled out her phone. Deming snatched it away and shouted, "Why call the police over a family matter? Haven't we embarrassed ourselves enough?" Once my mother-in-law recovered, she immediately started making a scene again. "It's all my fault. I'm old and useless. Everyone hates me. I might as well die. I'll go throw myself in front of a car." Deming, Shideki, and her husband all ran after her. Our oldest sister-in-law hesitated, then followed. The living room was left covered in broken dishes, dumpling filling, and broth. I finally let out a long breath, feeling lighter than I had in months. Getting an unwanted guest into your home is easy. Getting them out is the hard part. At last, this self-invited VIP was gone. Before I got married, I never imagined my mother-in-law would move in. Our oldest sister-in-law had kids to care for, and the younger sister was pregnant, so Mom had always stayed with her to help. I assumed she'd only come after I got pregnant. Instead, on the second day of my marriage, she showed up at our door dragging a suitcase. She told my husband, "You're away at work, and Luo just married into the family. She doesn't know the area. I'll look after her so you can focus on your job." Without waiting for an answer, she moved into the guest room and headed straight for the kitchen. My husband and I just stared at each other. I'm a full-time novelist, and I need absolute quiet to write. I already hated sharing my space, but she came under the banner of taking care of me, so refusing felt impossible. I thought she'd stay a few days and leave once I adjusted to married life. Instead, she stayed 3 months. Every bit of her care was torture wrapped in kindness. Now that she was finally gone, I doubted she'd have the nerve to return. I cleaned the apartment from top to bottom, changed the door code, and finally sat down to write in peace. Not long after, someone started pounding on the door. Shideki's booming voice came through from the hallway. "Luo, open up! I'm here to get Mom's clothes!" I dragged out my mother-in-law's suitcase, handed it to Shidek's husband, and tried to close the door. She shoved her hand against it. "You put my mom in the hospital, and you haven't even gone there to care for her?" I glanced at her pregnant belly and said flatly, "Oh, okay." I pretended I was about to leave. Shideki stared at me. "Aren't you changing clothes?" "Oh, right. Let me change." I stepped back inside, slammed the door, and locked it. She pounded and screamed outside for more than 10 minutes. I ignored her. When she got tired of yelling, she switched to guilt-tripping. "Luo, I'm pregnant. Big brother has work, second brother isn't home, and our oldest sister-in-law works and picks up the kids. If you don't stay with Mom, who will? So her own children are all too busy, and you're outsourcing your filial duty to the daughter-in-law? How shameless." "I'm busy too." "I have a novel to write," I called through the door. "You're the reason she was hospitalized. You have to go." Shideki wouldn't let it go, so I put on headphones and focused on writing. After a long struggle, her husband finally dragged her away. That night, the family group chat wouldn't stop buzzing. I opened it and found video after video of my mother-in-law playing the victim. She lay in a hospital bed moaning with an IV in her hand. Shideki filmed herself helping her to the bathroom, keeping the camera fixed on her exhausted face. Every clip implied I was an unfilial monster who abused her mother-in-law. I muted the group, turned off notifications, and kept writing. A week later, I figured she had been discharged, so I checked the group. Sure enough, she had moved into Shidek's home. In the videos, the heavily pregnant Shideki fed her, massaged her shoulders, helped her dress, and said sarcastically, "Mom, isn't your real daughter so much better than certain ungrateful people?" My mother-in-law nodded repeatedly. "My own daughter is the best." I found it hilarious. A daughter caring for her own mother was normal, so why compare it to me? After that, I stopped checking the family group. I focused on writing and finished my manuscript 2 weeks later. I packed my bags and went away to gather inspiration for my next novel. 2 days into the trip, my mother-in-law called, sounding cautious. "Luo, I'm outside your apartment. Why won't the door open? Can you let me in?" I couldn't believe she had the nerve to come back. I replied calmly, "I'm not home. I'm traveling for research." Shideki immediately started shouting in the background. "Then give Mom the door code. This isn't your house alone. What right do you have to keep her out?" I smiled and pretended the signal was breaking up. "Hello? Hello? What did you say?" "I'm in the mountains. The reception is terrible. I can't hear you." My mother-in-law's voice suddenly softened with concern. "Luo, make sure you're eating properly. Don't skip breakfast or you'll ruin your stomach. Wear more layers and don't catch a cold." "Hello? Are you still there? The signal is really bad." Shideki exploded. "Mom, have some self-respect. She kicked you out and you're still worried about her." My mother-in-law sighed. I was strict with your second brother when he was young, and he resents me for it. If I don't treat his wife well, I'm afraid he'll hate me even more. Second brother is completely controlled by his wife. When he comes back, I'll make him divorce Luo Xin. If he refuses, I'll post online that she abused her mother-in-law and destroy her reputation. Si Deking's words were pure threats. She slammed the phone down. I smiled, put my phone away, and continued my trip. Her threats meant nothing to me. When the trip ended, I returned home and rode in peace. Near the new year, my husband Si Dejun finally came home on leave. The moment he walked in, he pulled me into a tight hug, rested his forehead against mine, and whispered, "Did they hurt you?" As soon as he turned on his phone, he saw every message in the family group and knew exactly what had happened. I answered calmly, "Your mother is the one who feels wronged, not me." He said nothing else and just held me. The warmth of our reunion washed away the bitterness. After 3 months apart, we finally had time alone together. But the peace lasted only 2 hours before his phone rang. It was his mother. "Dejun, bring Luo Xin to your brother's house. We're having a family meeting to deal with the problem between your brother and his wife." My husband frowned. "What happened to Big Brother? Your sister-in-law made a mistake. The whole family is going to help her correct it." Her tone left no room for disagreement. My husband hung up and opened the family group. I looked too. The chat was in chaos, and Z Deming had tagged his wife. "Did you buy your mother a new quilt?" "Yes, I bought her one. Why didn't you discuss it with me first?" Z Deming's tone was severe. His wife's reply was filled with hurt. "I've been married into your family for over 10 years. This is the first quilt I've ever bought my mother, and it cost less than 1,000 yen. I need your permission for that? If it isn't for our household, you need to tell me before spending even 100 yen. I already warned you when you bought your mother clothes last time." Z Deming refused to back down. She replied through tears, "That was my mother's birthday. In over 10 years, I've bought her one outfit and one quilt. Is that really too much? I earn over 8,000 yuan a month. Do I not even have the freedom to spend 1,000 of my own money? I'm not living off you. What do you mean your money? You're my wife. Your income is marital property." Shi Deming's words exposed the family's double standard perfectly. I stared at the messages in disbelief. His wife had been gentle, careful, and obedient for over a decade. I never imagined the whole family would put her on trial for buying her own mother a quilt. Do we really have to go? Married couples argue, "That's normal. I don't want to get dragged into another one of your family's messes. Those are our family rules. A couple's problem is the whole family's problem, so we solve it at a family meeting." My husband stroked my hair. "I told you before we married, if my mother starts drama, ignore her and wait for me. I'm sorry you had to deal with this last time. This time I'm here. No one is going to bully you." I nodded. Now I actually wanted to see what kind of show they planned to put on this time. We arrived at my husband's older brother's place. My mother-in-law, Zi Deking, and Deking's husband were already there. The living room felt tense. My sister-in-law had poured tea for everyone, then stood off to the side without even a place to sit. One lonely chair sat in the middle of the living room like an interrogation seat. My mother-in-law pointed at it. "Sit down, eldest daughter-in-law. Tell us exactly what you did wrong." I rolled my eyes. They were clearly treating my sister-in-law like a criminal. Z Deming stood with his arms crossed, looking completely sure of himself. "You think you're right? Fine, you go first." My sister-in-law sat down, eyes red. "I've been in this family over 10 years. Every year I buy mom clothes and gifts for the younger siblings. I live far from my own parents and rarely visit. Last time I saw my mom's blanket was too thin, so I sent bedding that cost under 1,000 yen. Deming has treated it like a major crime ever since." Shi Deking immediately played the reasonable referee. "Caring about your mom is fine, but after marrying my brother, your earnings became marital property. You should discuss money spent on your family with him. If you'd sent the gift in his name, your mom would have been happy and he'd have looked generous too." Shi Deming nodded eagerly. "See? My little sister gets me. Honey, when you secretly spend money on your family, people might think I'm an ungrateful son-in-law." My sister-in-law went quiet, then said softly, "I understand. Next time, I'll discuss it with you." "That's my good wife. As long as you admit your mistake and fix it." Shi Deming smugly patted her shoulder and ordered, "Go make dinner. The whole family helped solve your problem today, so cook us a few nice dishes." My sister-in-law silently got up and walked into the kitchen. Watching this made my blood run cold. In the Z family, a daughter-in-law became family property the moment she married in. Her money could only be spent on them, and spending even a cent on her own parents was treated like a crime. After ganging up on her, they still expected her to serve them a feast. The hypocrisy was unreal. After stuffing themselves, Si Deming wiped his mouth and looked at my husband. "My family's problem is settled. Now let's deal with the second son's household." My husband smiled. "So the real reason you called us here was to go after my wife? Glad you understand. Last time you weren't home, your wife told plenty of lies. Now that you're back, I want to hear how you'll handle her." My husband looked at me. "My wife speaks first." Shi Deming dragged the chair back into the middle. "Sister-in-law, come sit here." I was about to snap, but my husband put an arm around me and pulled me behind him. "My wife sits with me. She isn't sitting there alone." My mother-in-law's face darkened. Zida King shouted, Second brother, don't you know the rules? Anyone who does wrong in this family sits in the middle and admits it. My husband stared at her coldly. What rules? What did my wife do wrong? She hasn't even spoken, and you've already convicted her. When your in-laws mistreat you, don't you want your husband to defend you? I didn't do anything wrong, Sita King protested. Neither did I. My husband scoffed. You bully my wife and call that helping me? Helping me destroy my marriage? Bang! My husband slammed his palm on the coffee table, startling everyone. The Z family had planned to put me on trial just like my sister-in-law, but now they were stunned. They never expected the usually mild Z Dejun to turn against the whole family for me. Sita Ming stepped in to smooth things over. Dejun, I know you love your wife, but right is right and wrong is wrong. You can't blindly take her side. Dad died young and Mom raised the three of us alone. It wasn't easy. We should respect her. Your job keeps you away, so Mom came to care for your wife instead of helping me with school pickups or looking after Day King. But your wife dumped Mom's food, threw her dumplings away, and splashed them in her face. Mom could have been burned, and your wife never visited the hospital. Was that right? My mother-in-law started crying again, repeating how hard she'd worked making dumplings, how carefully she'd cared for me, and how ungrateful I was. I cut in. I didn't waste food. Mom pulled those dumplings out of the trash, cooked them, and served them to all of you. You took a few bites and threw up. You were the ones who wasted them, not me. Shideking's eyes went wide. What? You cooked dumplings from the trash and fed them to us? No wonder they tasted so weird. I looked at her like she was hopeless. Mom filmed them sitting in the trash. Nobody objected when I cooked them. And Mom wouldn't even touch them herself. How did none of you figure it out? Sita King finally caught on and turned on her mother. Mom, why didn't you warn us? I wasn't hungry. My mother-in-law stammered. I shot back. Obviously. If you knew the dumplings came from the trash, would you eat them? Sita King gagged, covered her mouth, and ran to the bathroom. Seconds later, we heard her throwing up. My husband asked me with concern, Did you eat any? Of course not. I smiled. I poured half a bowl of cold water over mine. They were stone cold and inedible. Why add cold water? My husband asked. If anyone tried to come at me, I was going to throw the bowl right back. Self-defense. I looked at Z Deming and warned him. If you'd tried to slap me that day, Mom wouldn't have been the one wearing those dumplings. You would. Shi Deming's face turned bright red and he couldn't get a word out. My husband suddenly understood. So the dumplings you threw at Mom weren't even hot? Right, I didn't want a lawsuit. I only wanted to teach her a lesson, I admitted calmly. Shi Deming roared, Shidajun, this isn't about whether they were hot. Throwing food at your mother-in-law is completely disrespectful. Shida King came back from the bathroom looking pale and joined in. Brother and sister took turns attacking me, glaring like they wanted blood. Only after they ran out of insults did my husband finally speak. He looked at his mother. Mom, are you finished? No, she cried. Then keep going. His voice was calm but left no room for argument. My mother-in-law opened her mouth again, but I cut her off. Save the tears. I'm going to show you something, and then you'll understand why I threw those dumplings away. I had my husband turn on the TV and cast the security footage from my phone. The first clip was from when he was home on newlywed leave. Back then, my mother-in-law waited on us hand and foot. She got up at 5 to make porridge, steamed buns, side dishes, egg pancakes, and perfectly warmed milk. Breakfast was ready when we woke up. Afterward, she did laundry, mopped, and stayed busy all day, looking like the sweetest mother alive. Sita King watched and muttered, Look how well Mom treated you. I'm pregnant, and even I've never had service like that. No one answered her. My mother-in-law grew nervous and grabbed Z Deming. What is this? How does she have video? My husband explained, These are our home cameras. I installed them before we married. The living room camera was for Luo Xin's safety when she was alone, and the kitchen camera was in case she forgot the stove while writing. They weren't installed to spy on you. My mother-in-law's face instantly went pale. Then we played what happened after my husband went back to work. On the second morning after he left, she made a huge pot of plain rice porridge and set out pickles. Let's keep it simple. Just the two of us, she said. We'll make good food when Daejun comes back. After weeks of rich, newlywed meals, I thought something light sounded fine. But that one pot lasted 3 days. She reheated it at lunch, watered it down at dinner, and served nothing but porridge and pickles with barely a drop of oil. On the fourth morning, 2 bowls of dark multigrain sludge sat on the table. She smiled. It's whole grain powder. Just add hot water. It's healthy and helps with weight loss. 10 wen a pound, and this will feed us for half a month. This won't fill me up, I frowned. That's the point. Experts say stopping at 70% full is healthiest. She acted like she was doing me a favor. After that, I got multigrain mush for breakfast, watery porridge and greens for lunch, and more porridge at night. After a week, I was dizzy from hunger, and finally ordered 2 meat dishes for delivery. When the food arrived, my mother-in-law scowled. We have food at home. Why did you order takeout? I wanted meat. I pushed some rice toward her. Have some. No. Porridge is enough for me. She refused outright, choosing watery porridge over my takeout. I paused the video. From that day on, Mom and I ate separately. She cooked hers and I cooked mine. Look at the timestamp. I pointed to the corner. She ate a full restaurant meal before I ever ordered takeout. I was hiding in my office eating snacks because I was starving while she ate whatever she wanted outside, then told all of you she'd spent her entire pension feeding me. My husband looked at her. I transferred 10,000 yuan for living expenses. There was no way you used all of it in those few months, was there? My mother-in-law's face went red. She couldn't answer. Sita King still wouldn't give up. Even if Mom made mistakes before, she later made Dumplings specially to apologize. Why did you put random garbage in the filling and throw them away? You just wanted to kick Mom out. I did want her to leave, I admitted. I'm a writer and need absolute quiet. She blasted short videos at full volume every day and shouted through video calls like she was fighting. People in the building across from us even complained. I couldn't write during the day and had to work until 2 or 3 in the morning. Then she'd bang on my door at 6 and demand I eat breakfast. If I said no, she'd keep knocking until I couldn't rest. I finally told her, no blasting short videos or loud video calls at home. If she couldn't do that, she needed to leave. She said taking away short videos was like taking away her life, so she chose to leave. But then she claimed she worried I'd skip breakfast and offered to make dumplings for my freezer. Deking jumped in. See? You were kicking her out and she still cared about you. What a wonderful person. I said nothing and opened the most important clip. It was recorded at 4 in the morning. I had only been asleep for an hour when she started chopping filling in the kitchen. The pounding echoed through the whole building. My head was splitting, so I opened the camera feed to see how much longer she'd be. What I saw made me sick. After chopping the filling, she pulled my takeout containers from the trash and dumped leftover spicy noodles, broth, and used napkins straight into the dumpling mixture. As she stirred, she cursed. That's what you get for ordering takeout and disobeying me. Hope this makes you sick. Then she spat into the filling several times. Next, she poured flour onto the counter, went to the balcony, grabbed a handful of dirt from a flower pot, and quietly mixed it into the dough. There wasn't enough to see, but it made the dough gritty and bitter. The whole time she wrapped dumplings, she kept muttering, "Hope you get sick. That's what you get for messing with me." Before the clip even ended, Zita Ching rushed back to the bathroom and vomited again. Pregnancy had already made her sensitive, and remembering she'd eaten several of those dumplings pushed her over the edge. She Deming, my sister-in-law, and Deking's husband all went pale, their stomachs turning. I looked around calmly. Now do you understand why I threw those dumplings in the trash? My mother-in-law kept her head down, trembling in silence. Deming questioned me. Why didn't you show us the video that day? Did any of you let me speak? I shot back. You came in calling me ungrateful, demanding an apology, and never once asked why. Even if I'd shown it, would you have believed me? Deming had no answer. Then my sister-in-law suddenly asked, Mom, if you couldn't get along with her, why didn't you stay with us or with Deking? I smiled and opened another audio clip. Listen for yourselves. It was a recording of me trying to send her to the older brother's house. Mom, don't you miss your granddaughter? Why not stay with them for a few days? She complained. No way. Their house is exhausting. 4 school runs a day, then childcare, cooking, laundry, and cleaning all weekend. It's harder than raising 3 kids. That little girl is difficult too. I can't discipline her at all. I tried again. Then stay with Deking. She's pregnant and needs help. My mother-in-law shook her head. Absolutely not. Pregnant Deking orders me around, complains about my cooking, and gives me no grocery money. I've spent my pension on her, yet she makes me mop 5 times a day and blames me for every hair on the floor. I have no freedom there. When the recording ended, Zita King shook with anger and screamed, Mom, I've defended you at every turn, and this is how you talk about me behind my back? My mother-in-law cried, Luoshin tricked me into saying it. She was trying to drive me out. But by then, no one believed her excuses. My husband looked at her coldly. You had it easy in our home. You didn't need to work or serve anyone. You could make porridge or eat out, wash your own clothes, and Luoshin handled the floors. Why did you still mistreat her? My mother-in-law looked up with tears in her eyes, then said the cruelest thing yet. I came to help so you'd give me a big grandson. You've been married 4 months, and she still isn't pregnant. I came to care for a pregnant daughter-in-law, not pamper someone who can't give me a grandchild. I laughed in disbelief. You started tormenting me the day after Dejin went back to work. We'd only been married 2 weeks. You already knew I couldn't get pregnant? Of course. She sounded completely justified. Your sister-in-law was 4 months pregnant when she married. Deking registered her marriage after 2 months of pregnancy. But you had no news after 2 weeks, and you still aren't pregnant. Was I wrong? My husband exploded. So getting pregnant before marriage is something to brag about? Were you proud when you got pregnant before marriage too? Everyone froze. His brother and sister looked confused. They clearly had no idea. My mother-in-law completely lost it. I just want a grandson. Is that wrong? Your brother had a girl and Deqing's child won't carry the C name. You're my only hope to continue the family line and now you're humiliating me. I can't take this anymore. She ran out crying. Deming and Deqing's husband rushed after her. My sister-in-law hesitated, then followed. King glared at me. You tore our family apart, happy now? What does that have to do with me? I snapped. Your family was already a swamp. You only know how to gang up on outsiders. Am I wrong for refusing to be bullied? My husband pulled me close and told Zita Ching coldly, My wife is right. This family bullies my sister-in-law, your husband, and now my wife. She isn't a pushover you can control. Deking looked baffled. This family? Aren't you a Z too? My name is Z, but I'm nothing like you. My husband took my hand. We're going home. You drove mom to this point and you're just leaving? King shouted. My husband stopped and turned back. King, remember this. Your mother is like this because of you and our brother. You use her as free labor and treat her like a maid, so she clings to my house to escape you. The truly ungrateful children are you two. I'm done with all of you. Leave us alone. With that, he took me downstairs. We found my mother-in-law sitting on the ground wailing while Z Deming struggled to help her up. When she saw us, she cried even louder. Why couldn't a car just take me instead? Why is my life so miserable? My husband didn't even look over. He put me in the car and drove away. I felt uneasy. What if she really does something reckless? That's not on us. His voice was calm and completely unmoved. We went home and collapsed from exhaustion. Early the next morning, my husband's phone rang. King's panicked voice came through the speaker. Second brother, get to the hospital. Big brother was in a crash. They may have to amputate, and his wife is missing. When we arrived, Z Deming was already in surgery. King had signed the consent forms. My mother-in-law sat in the hallway, sobbing uncontrollably. Why couldn't it have been me? Why my son? I'm 60 and I've lived long enough. He's only 38. My young niece, Z Deming's daughter, suddenly yelled, Grandma, you jinxed him! You spent all night saying a car should hit you, and then Dad got into a crash. My mother-in-law stared at her. I was talking about myself, not your father. My niece clearly explained what happened. After we left, Z Deming dragged Mom home. She kept wailing about getting hit by a car. His wife finally told her to stop, and he forced his wife to apologize. Heartbroken, she asked for a divorce and packed to leave. Instead of stopping her, Z Deming threw her luggage outside and said the house belonged to the Z family, not her. Their daughter cried for her mother, and he beat her with a clothes hanger. Before dawn, he got worried and drove out to find his wife. He was speeding, swerved around a pedestrian, crossed into oncoming traffic, and hit a truck. His injuries were severe, and amputation was the only way to save him. King turned on her mother in fury. You kept wishing for death, and now it landed on Big Brother. Are you satisfied? My mother-in-law cried harder, but had no defense left. I glanced at my husband, and he understood immediately. I'll drive you home, he said. Stay until your brother is out of surgery. I can go alone. I turned to leave. Behind me, King yelled, Heartless! Big Brother is still in surgery, and she's walking out. My husband answered coldly, Is he her brother? Why does she owe him anything? When I got home, my sister-in-law was standing outside the door, eyes swollen and exhausted. You weren't home, she said with a forced smile. I rang the bell, but no one answered. Come in, I let her inside. The moment she stepped in, tears fell. I want a divorce. She told me about 11 years of misery. Far from home and alone, she'd married her former teacher, Z Deming, full of admiration, only to be controlled. His mother claimed to help with the baby, but catered only to him and cooked everything painfully spicy. When the nursing baby became fussy, the family blamed her for disturbing Deming's sleep. After the child started kindergarten, my sister-in-law worked while Mom handled pickups and complained non-stop. Z Deming organized family meetings to accuse her of dumping chores on Mom. Deming controlled her salary card, and even buying her own mother a blanket brought another round of criticism. She had endured it for 11 years. That day, she finally understood. The love wasn't worth it, and the family wasn't worth staying for. I want to file for divorce, but I have no money. He has my salary card, and my family lives too far away to help. She sobbed so hard she could barely speak. I'll lend you the money, I said without hesitation. Her eyes filled with grateful tears. I couldn't bring myself to hide the truth from her. Deming was in a car crash and may lose a leg. This might not be the best time to file. She shot to her feet, terrified. When did it happen? How bad is it? As soon as I told her, she ran out without even saying goodbye. I sighed. Deep down, she still loved him. Late that night, my exhausted husband came home, dropped onto the couch, and said, King lost the baby. I was stunned. What happened? At the hospital, Mom blamed my sister-in-law for Deming's crash, and King joined in. After a huge fight, King drove off furious and crashed too, suffering a severe head injury. Immediate treatment could harm the pregnancy, but delaying it risked a permanent coma. Mom chose to save King, who lost the baby and her fertility. I could only shake my head. What goes around comes around. My husband said Deming had always used his wife's admiration and fear to control her. He never said the cruel things himself. He let Mom and King play the villains while he acted innocent. Now that his wife had finally seen through him, divorce was inevitable. Going back to care for him was only about clearing her conscience. 2 days later was New Year's Eve. We had just returned from buying holiday supplies when my mother-in-law tagged my husband in the family chat. Daejun, your brother and sister are both hospitalized with no one to care for them. You and Luoshin come here. You take care of your brother and Luoshin can look after Daejing. My husband didn't reply. He started a group video call and everyone joined. My mother-in-law began crying. I only had 3 children. Now my oldest and youngest are both in the hospital. You're all I have left. My husband's voice was calm but final. There are things I plan to take to my grave, but you've all disappointed me too much. Today we're clearing everything up. My mother-in-law panicked. Daejun, don't say it. Wait until they're out of the hospital. If you don't want to hear it, hang up. My brother and sister need to hear it. My husband didn't budge. Deming scowled. Daejun, how can you talk to Mom like that? She's your mother. She isn't my mother. The words landed like a bomb. Everyone froze. Zedeking screamed, "Second brother, have you lost your mind?" No. My husband shared a DNA report on screen. "This is a paternity test. She and I are not biologically related." Then he revealed the truth buried for 35 years. When he was 1, his biological parents supposedly died of food poisoning. His uncle, the biological father of Zedeming and Zedeching, claimed he would raise him and took all of his parents' property. The uncle sold the house and moved the family to the city. His aunt, the woman we called Mom, abused my husband after giving birth to Zedeking. When his uncle died, my husband was 10. She tried to stop him from attending high school and forced him to work so Deming and Deking could study. My husband earned a place in high school, but she refused to let him go. He finally called the police, and she backed down only because she feared the truth would surface. From then on, family meetings became her weapon. Anytime he resisted, the whole family attacked him. Once he started earning a good salary, she switched to playing helpless and constantly asked him for money. He didn't marry me until 35. She'd never cared about his marriage because she wanted him single, hoping his property would eventually go to Deming's and Deking's children. I had always noticed how differently she treated him compared with Deming and Deking. After she moved in, I traveled to the countryside under the excuse of research for my writing and finally uncovered the truth. My husband's parents had been hard-working, successful leaders in their village. They hadn't accidentally eaten poisonous mushrooms. His uncle and aunt, jealous of their wealth, mixed poisonous mushroom extract into their food, killed them, and staged it as an accident. My husband survived only because he was staying with his grandmother. "Auntie, I know the truth. My parents didn't die in an accident. You poisoned them." My husband stared coldly at her through the screen. She panicked and blurted, "It wasn't me! Your uncle put the poison in!" "What poison?" my husband pressed. "Put poisonous mushrooms." She stumbled over the words. I quietly recorded the whole video. It was the evidence we needed most. "You killed my parents, stole their property, and now you want to exploit me and my wife as servants for your children. And you dare lecture me about conscience? You were a loving mother to Deming and Deking. To me, you were a monster." Deking tried to argue, but I cut in. "Your crashes weren't random. Your parents' cruelty finally caught up with their children, and this isn't over yet." We ended the call and went straight to the police. I submitted the recording, and they opened an investigation. My mother-in-law confessed to helping murder her brother-in-law and his wife, finally solving the 34-year-old cold case. Her husband had been the main culprit, but he was already dead. As an accomplice, she was sentenced to 15 years in prison. My husband also filed a civil suit to recover the stolen property. The court froze her assets, and her house plus 200,000 yuan in savings were awarded to him. After caring for Deming until he left the hospital, my sister-in-law insisted on divorce. Knowing he couldn't keep her, he signed. She took their daughter and moved away to start over. Zedeking could no longer have children. Her in-laws also rejected her for years of mistreating her mother, and her husband divorced her. With nowhere else to go, she ended up caring for her amputee brother. The two siblings were left with a bleak future. People who hurt others eventually destroy themselves. Cruelty always comes with a price. My husband and I brought flowers to his biological parents' graves. He dropped to his knees, sobbing, and managed only 2 words. "Mom. Dad, your son finally got justice for you." I held him gently and spoke to the headstone. "Mom, Dad, rest in peace. Daejun and I will live well and build a happy life together." A soft breeze moved the wildflowers beside the graves, as if they were answering us. We also visited his grandmother's grave. He still had faint memories of her. She was the reason he survived. It was his first visit in more than 30 years, and tears blurred his eyes again. Warm sunlight washed over us and chased away the darkness. We finally escaped the Z family's toxic mess and built a quiet, happy life together. I kept writing, and he focused on his work. The painful past faded behind us, and our real happiness was only beginning.